In 2013, we did this crazy thing where we raised money for breast cancer awareness, and we had people vote in their favorite game, and the winner got to be the 9th game at Evo.
Oh my goodness!
So we're doing the run back. So for the 9th game, we're going to let the players choose.
Hey everyone, Michael Martin here from Yahoo Esports, back with another I Got Next this week. We're going to be talking some Evo and Evo Vote shortly, but before we get into that, I want to do what we've been doing every week, which is get into some comments from the previous week, which was, of course, are we criticizing Street Fighter V too much? Pulled some comments from YouTube, but I actually want to shout out someone on Twitter who tweeted at me, at Orbital Edge, and I'm not going to read all of these, but basically the gist of his comments were that Street Fighter Cross Tekken is the reason Street Fighter V and Capcom are experiencing the issues they are, or at least one of the reasons, and I don't agree with that. Street Fighter Cross Tekken came out, it kind of flopped, and Street Fighter 4 was fine. On top of that, Street Fighter 5 is sort of it's a brand new game, obviously, but it's a brand new era of Street Fighter that Capcom's trying out, and for better or worse, it's not really working out great. In some ways, the Capcom Pro Tour is. In some ways, competition and tournaments are. But in a lot of ways, with casual gamers and the hardcore gamers, it's not. So, thank you, Orbital Edge, for those tweets. But yeah, I disagree that Street Fighter Cross Tekken has much bearing on Street Fighter V. However, we got some YouTube comments. Trenton Willis. No, I don't think we're being too harsh, but you are right. Actions speak louder than words. The launch really hurt this game. Season 2 changes some game mechanics that make a difference. Street Fighter V still does not have an arcade mode. I was a guy that didn't think arcade mode was as big a deal, but obviously there are people who are still dealing with the fallout of the launch and the lack of content. Capcom's still dealing with that, and I've changed my mind. This is a big deal. If you have people that are still not willing to get back into the game or try the game at all because it's missing these things, then maybe it's time that Capcom rethink its strategy on that front. Could be a topic for a discussion in the future. But moving on, Zach Ansley. I think when the greatest player in the world says that Street Fighter V has been bungled, there might be some legitimacy to the complaints. I agree with that. I don't agree with the Infiltration being the greatest player in the world. We saw that player at Capcom Cup 2016. His name's NuckleDoo. But thank you for that comment, Zach. And moving on, last one. Arjun Van Dalen. I hope I got your name right. I apologize if I didn't. My gripe with Street Fighter V is not really about the core game. I find it to be the most fun fighter I've played in years. However, everything surrounding it has been a giant train wreck. Communication, bugs, lack of content, shoddy online, root kits, etc., etc. I can't easily walk away from the game as I enjoy it a lot, but every time I have to wait through menus and loading screens from a match to start, I grind my teeth. I think Arjun sums up how I feel a lot of times about Street Fighter V, and I think a lot of players. You know what? Frankly, I think a lot of us aren't having fun with it right now. And that's why I made this video. If we're not having fun with the game, then it's time to reassess how much time we want to invest in that game, whether it's playing in tournaments or just playing online or whatever. Look, there are plenty of games to play, and I know people love Street Fighter. Look at me. I'm literally probably one of the biggest Street Fighter nerds in the world. I love Street Fighter, and I want to play Street Fighter V. But I recently played some other fighting games that I hadn't really given a chance before, and I had fun with those, and that's what's most important. Street Fighter will hopefully always be there. At least Street Fighter V will be, and the Capcom Pro Tour. But if we want these games to get better, we have to let Capcom know in more ways than just griping about every little change or every little thing on social media. We have to put some weight behind our words, and it helps that guys like Infiltration are speaking out. So, having said all that, I appreciate the comments. Remember, drop them in the YouTube comments section for all of these videos every week, or tweet at me at Bizarro_Mike, 1Z, 2Rs. Let's get into our topic of this week, Evo and the Evo vote. Okay, so we know all of the main games that are going to be at Evo, with the exception of one, and that game is up for a vote, and I'm not a fan of the vote. Let's get this out of the way. I like charity. It isn't about charity. It isn't that I dislike charity, I should say. The vote, all the money that's going towards this vote to get the final game into Evo is for charity. That's great. Real quick, the games that are in: Street Fighter V, Tekken 7, Guilty Gear Xrd Revelator 2, Injustice 2, Smash Melee, Smash 4, Blaze Blue, Central Fiction, and King of Fighters 14. The games that are up for the vote: Marvel 3, $15,000. Pokken, $11,000. KI, $5,000. Windjammers and ARMS, $1,300 each. Skullgirls, about $670. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Turbo, $600. Mortal Kombat X, $135, and Nidhogg, $35. Okay. The reason I'm not a fan about this Evo vote is because it pits communities against each other. We saw that almost immediately when community members from these various scenes were sort of going at each other. My game deserves to be in Evo more. Your game was already there. Ours should be featured. It's not a good look, and I'm wondering when we can get past this. My game is better than yours, or this scene, this fractured community that we see. I think doing things like this doesn't contribute to us as being a fighting game community as a whole. I know that's not necessarily Evo's intent, but I think that's the result of something like this. On top of that, it isn't about which game is most popular gets in. Marvel 3 has a larger community than, say, some Skullgirls. Skullgirls is up for a vote for the second time in its lifetime, and it was never a main game. There are 5 games on that vote list that have been a main game at some point at Evo. Skullgirls has never been featured as a main game. And one would argue that their scene suffered from that the first time they were up for a vote, whereas Melee blew up. So to me, it's less about what game's more popular and would get more votes, and more about who's got the most disposable income. And I don't know that anyone's going to match the $3,000 someone donated last night for Marvel 3 to any other game like Skullgirls or KI or whatever. At this point, it might be a lost cause. People might look at this vote and say, well, why should I put money on KI? Because Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom's $10,000 ahead and it'll never catch up. Who knows? Someone could come in with a ton of cash. I don't know. But at any rate, do you care about this Evo vote? Do you like this Evo vote? Does one game deserve to be there more than another because it made more money in a donation drive? Let us know in the comments on YouTube, of course. Let me know on Twitter at Bizarro_Mike, 1Z2Rs. And don't forget, we do a series called Conversation and Fireballs, where we talk to different fighting game personalities, casual conversation. We've talked with Alex Myers, we've talked with Keats from Killer Instinct. If you want to see more of those, support us, like the videos, comment on the videos. We'll continue to do great content for all your fighting game news and information. Keep it right here on Yahoo Esports.